you want to let your artists be able to flow their creativity juices, and I don't just mean that in a sexual way. So I had a tweet catch my eye. A tweet by a internet tabloid? I don't know how to describe them. Have you guys ever heard of Niche Gamer? Basically, from what I can gather, it's like a anime gaming kind of niche blog website. And well, this tweet by their official account, it looks like, caught my eye. They're saying Gundam creator Yoshiyuki Tomino says Disney's new movies are empty and boring, warns anime must avoid this. So we're going to go look into this a little bit, because I happen to be a fan of Gundam. So from what I had gathered looking over this already, this is a summarization of this article put out by Toyo Keizai, a Japanese online news organization, I think. Excuse me. So rather than go through Niche Gamer's article specifically, I kind of want to browse through this before going through their article. Let me guess, blaming the queers? I don't know, actually. I haven't read through this all yet. Pictured right here is Tomino Yoshiyuki, anime director, born in 1941. Wow, really? Basically, this is the guy that created one of the most influential anime franchises of anime. Giant robot anime culture had been around before Gundam was established, but Gundam has really become like an iconic form of these giant robot fights. And what draws me to a lot of Gundam is there's a lot of political talk in it, and I like my politics. So the article goes, the market has doubled in the past 10 years. How do the quote-unquote masters who have led the industry for nearly 2 years view the current state of the anime industry in Japan, which continues to flourish? Gundam creator Yuki Tomino said, anime, which was once a subculture, is now a national culture. In the old days, the shoulders were narrow. I've been in the freelance industry for over 40 years, worrying about mortgages. It reminds me of my annual tax return. Every time I went to the tax office, I had to explain to the staff what anime work was. Please allow me to pay for movie tickets as an expense. Why? Because if I don't watch the movie, I won't be working in anime. Huh? What is anime work? I've been asked this question for nearly 10 years. So what I'm guessing with this first little bit about paying for movie tickets as an expense, that would largely be, I would assume, as like a media critic, which has been a very common trade. If you want to call it a trade, Jesus. But now I don't get ridiculed by the tax office. From that point of view, I am very grateful to the improvement in the social status of the industry today. It is true that the anime industry is flourishing. However, it remains to be seen whether this situation will continue in the future. The excitement may continue for another 5 to 6 years, but it will decline after that. Yeah, that's kind of like something getting introduced to the mainstream, it gets like a big bubble of interest, and with that is success. But then eventually the interest kind of dissipates. So while it may still keep functioning and working, it's not going to be hitting the peaks that it used to. As is the case with novels and movies, there are ups and downs that inevitably arise with the waves of the times. Artworks are enjoyed by people who have a heart, so as the environment of the world changes, the aspect of culture changes, and so does people's mentality. So, if now is the pinnacle, the future will be jammed. Translate. Yay! The anime itself is not going away. However, it seems difficult to say that there will be a better work than the current one. After switching from hand-drawn anime to digital, Disney's works were all discouraged and said, huh? I think that works like Hayao Miyazaki's anime will continue to be seen as classic works in the future. Won't the Gundam series go down in history? I don't mean to be conceited, but I might write at least one line. Something in my throat. I got a frog in my throat. I should have like tea with honey or something. But to tell you the truth, I feel the fundamental message that I put into Gundam, such as social theory and war theory, and anime is not political, is not being conveyed as much as I would like because it's hindered by the modeling of the giant robot called Gundam. Children like dinosaurs and giant robots. Gundam is an extension of this taste. Reluctantly, there is a part of me that has been supported to the Mecha Fetchy, nailed it, who has a narrow perspective. If you look at the works alone, they can't match the popularity of Chibi Maruko-chan and One Piece. That is true. One Piece, I'm an uncultured gaijin swine, but I do know One Piece. That one is quite popular. That's a very cute picture of him. I like it. He looks happy. The human power to identify fakes. The application of AI to production is progressing. Will anime jobs be taken away in the future? Go player, for those that don't know, Go is a board game popular in Japan. Go player Soda Fuji, nailed it, once said something like this: when I was in junior high school, I played AI software for Shogi, another board game, and I thought it was very strong, but there was something suspicious about it, so naturally I got into the habit of thinking for myself. The amazing ability of human beings is to have a sense of discernment of something different, end quote. Dude has nice drip? True. Challenging Vosh for best drip. Where was I? Even in the theater, there are plays that are subtly addictive, even if they are the same performance. And there are actors who are addictive. Even if anime becomes digital and AI is introduced, machine creation will not easily exceed the level of humans. Humans like real things, so they distinguish things that aren't. I think that eventually people's work will be reviewed and analog line drawings will return. God, I can only hope for that. Hey Aiden, how you doing? Yeah, I'm sort of entering my cyberpunk arc. Thank you for the cookies. What was I going to say? I am actually glad to hear that Tomino, an actual creative, is against the idea that AI can easily replace human artists. because you can't. And this thing about humans like real things. This is very true. You can see that just by looking at market values of like literally any collectible, where you try to get the original print of something, price is sky high. You get something that's a reprint, it's super duper cheap. So we do put a lot of value on original artwork or original works, and like in this instance, real things. Largely, what I believe he's referring to is switching to the digital art that they did early 2000s ish. I believe it was Gundam Seed that was the first one that really switched over to the digital art instead of the traditional art. Honestly, go back and watch the traditional art animes. They're a lot better in my opinion, at least for the animation quality. Especially like, well, it is Christmas Eve. My favorite Christmas movie, Gundam Wing Endless Waltz. It was done in the traditional art style, but I have seen versions where it's been like redone sort of in like 1080p quality. It looks phenomenal. It's the best animation I have personally seen and personally enjoy out of the Gundam franchise. Translating. While the anime market is expanding, it has been pointed out that profits are unevenly distributed, such as little return to production sites. I wonder where that uneven distribution is headed towards. Definitely not the workers. In fact, the people who make the most money in the industry are not the production companies or the investors. The people who do make the most money in the industry are not the production companies. What? Oh, it's the company that distributes videos. Oh, the middleman. Are those so-called platformers really paying for intellectual property rights of the works? That's what I'm most concerned about. I used to think about how to make sure that we don't take away our profits from those who have created such clever systems to lock in users and prevent them from escaping. The only thing I can think of was to charge for radio waves themselves. I don't think that's science fiction. Charging for the radio waves? Like, charging for plays? I don't know. So the production site remains struggling. However, I would venture to say that I think people who are in a creative position should leave it as it is. It's been a year since the workplace moved to a new building in Ogikubo as part of the organizational integration of the Bandai Namco group. But I don't think it's a good environment for creating new works. That is unfortunate. We should be giving people creative location or good environments for creating new works. You want to let your artists be able to flow their creativity juices, and I don't just mean that in a sexual way. This magnificent building has been completely digitized and has too much air conditioning. It's the same boring work that Disney's digital production system produces today. If you're a creator, you have to be crazy, spiritual, earthy, indie. If you can make an indigenous work in a space where the air conditioning is completely controlled, I think you should make it. When I look at Machiko Hasegawa Saze-san, nailed it. I smell it must have been drawn in a workplace where the wind was blowing pew pew when manga began to appear in a post-war life. I think it's more dangerous to lose that smell. I would have to agree that you kind of want to let your artists be grounded in the world we're in, rather than just putting them in a box with the same stale air, working on the same stuff over and over. That's not how creativity flourishes. The most important thing for a producer to pay attention to is to give them a place to make the most of their race as an artist. It is not as simple as spending money to provide a high-rise floor for your workplace. I think it's a shame that salarymen who don't know the practical aspects of manufacturing can manage creation, so the producer is the creator. That is often true in many industries where there's people that don't fully know what goes into the production of their products, but they're managing the entire project, so to speak. It leads to mostly unreachable deadlines, overbearing work paces, overbearing workloads. It leads to a lot of problems. That also end up leading to burnout. And when artists get burnout, they don't produce art anymore. It sometimes takes a very long time to get past that bit of burnout. CEOs don't know how to work below them. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. What would you like to say to business people living today? As I said, don't be afraid to look at the site. In the case of agriculture, climate, topography, and geology, then there are the quirks of the land. It is important to have a sense of how to maintain complex characteristics. If you only look at the numbers on the slip, you can't do it. You can't feel the pain in the field even if you're in a clean office. However, there are times when a person who is a master of the mouth and has no sense of the field can get ahead, as is often the case at TV stations when people who don't know such practical matters take the helm. They can create boring things. So please visit the site properly. I don't know what he's referring to with this site. Oh, okay. I think he's referring to the office that they're working in to produce their works. I'm just glad to see that Tomino actually acknowledges that creators need to create. They need to be bound in, or they need to be aware of the world they're in. If you don't really know how to properly describe a world, how can you convey that through the art you're trying to make? As a specific example, I'm going to talk about writing for a little bit. To be seen as a good writer, it's not just about grammar, but that does help a lot. It's also about describing the feelings of either the whatever you're writing about, essentially. Like, how was I going to put this? Like, you want to be descriptive regarding the smells of the room when you're establishing a new room, the different sights that the eyes take in. It's a lot different than manga or anime or other cinematography in general. But there are still things that I can't think of off the top of my head. You kind of need grounding in reality to help convey the story you're trying to, and help people with their suspension of disbelief. Because if you go too far with your suspension of disbelief, where things just seem wrong and out of nowhere, people aren't going to buy into it. Though people do love to buy into the 25-foot tall robot suits that could not work under gravity, but they look cool, and that's why I buy their toys. Thanks for watching. Like it if you like it, dislike if you didn't. Let me know in the comments why you think I'm wrong. Check out the community on Discord. And remember, if you can't be the sharpest tool in the shed, you can always be the hoe.